Hi, I'm Dean Sage.
And I'm Jack Curvin.
And this is Show Me Your Deck,
a podcast where we explore the intersections of oracles and chakras,
using our original decks to create new insights. Episode 48.
I love the number 48.
It's a good number.
It is a good number. You can divide it up in all sorts of cool ways. Our friend Kalen had 48 cards in his deck.
He did indeed.
Very nice.
48's a very interesting number. 49 is coming up, though, which...
I know. We should do something special.
We should do something special.
What does that mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Episode 49 of 49.
It's the end of the first cycle.
That'd be interesting to do. Instead of seasons, cycles of 49. I don't know. Because we're not we don't really line up with the year. Like, we didn't do 52 episodes in 52 weeks.
No.
Especially since I forgot to post last week's episode last week.
It might be interesting I don't know, just improvising here. What if we did a season recap, as it were, and find the highlights of the past episodes that we liked or found most memorable and put them all into one place for people?
That sounds like work.
It does sound like work.
We could have AI do it. Let's listen to 48 episodes and tell me the highlights.
Oh no, I don't have to. Well, okay, yeah. When you put it like that, it's like probably 60 hours worth of material because our episodes are more than an hour each.
Yeah, the members versions can get a little bit long. I think we hit almost 2 hours on one of our member episodes. So, but I mean,
we had a lot to say.
It just means that you support us on Patreon and you get your money's worth, right?
You get that dollar's worth.
You get all that extra deck. Oh, well, let's see where number 48 takes us and see if let's see if we get number 48.
That would be cool. Deck number 3. This is the abstract deck with just the intersections themselves, the pretty floral deck, the bouquet deck. We're going to use card number 5. Okay, so this will be down in Muladhara, down in red, down in earth. And the 5th chakra is Vishuddha, air, aqua. So we have the intersection of I am with the I say. So how I am is in fact how your sense of safety, security, identity, how that's impacted by the way you communicate.
Safety, safety, sense of security, and then
health, identity.
Did you say health?
Health, identity.
Health, identity. The baseness, the materialness of it all.
Your literal physical self.
And is it air for your?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Air and earth. Earth and air in this instance.
I'm seeing sand dunes for some reason.
Well, we've talked about them in the past. The inversion of this one is the sand dunes.
It is okay.
Yeah, and this one, this is the millstone, the stone that grinds other stuff to powder, and then the powder floats away on the air. So the inversion of it was where we were discussing the ways in which the words you say impact the way people understand themselves. Or the way you understand yourself. But with this one, it's the way in which you, as a physical being present in this world, have the power with your voice to make change for the good. The haiku for this one is spoken millstones, crush injustice, lying rubble, pulverizing truth. So the ways in which our communicative power becomes... Well, it's a result of our being when we focus on justice, righteousness, kindness, personal truths. And the profession is, I profess that I am the words that ring true.
Okay. Yeah, I like this because it's obviously, podcast words. That works well.
Yeah, lots of words.
That works very well. Speaking truth, ringing truth. That's sort of interesting because, it's not metal, but earth contains metal. It's obviously most of our planet is made of metal.
Well, and for example, quartz singing bowls, they resonate and ring very beautifully, and they are not metal. So earth itself can ring. Like if you can imagine when two rocks fall, or when one rock falls from a height and crashes on the ground, there is a ringing that happens. So, and then there's all the dust that moves around because of this, the way in which the world is changed by words.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting place to start.
It's reminding me that we have to be mindful of the power of our words. With the inversion of this, the concern was that the words you say could hurt someone's sense of identity or safety. With this, it's not the same here. It's that you are the rock. You are not the wind here. And so when you fall on something and scatter material around you, you are the active agent here. Whereas with the other one, the sense was more that you are the result. So here you are the change doer. You are not the consequence.
So we're the actor. We're the main stage.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones.
So you have to be mindful of the way in which you're moving through the world. So whatever the context is for this going forward, with the next few cards that we're going to hear, it seems that we have to be mindful of the way in which we carry ourselves through situations and how we're communicating our intentions as we do so. So intent is important here.
Intent. Okay. Intentions are interesting. We've talked about intentions before. How do they or do they not influence the truth of action or the truth of reality? How much do they matter to what happened, right? So it's like there's what happened, then there's the intention for what happened, and how does one influence the other? So this is asking us to clarify our intentions,
because they inform our actions. And so your intention is A, but you then did B, and that wasn't what you intended, but this is what we have to contend with, is the actual result, not what you intended. However, intention informs and leads you. If you go into something with bad intentions, then you're probably going to get bad results, even if they're not exactly the ones you intended. So the importance of intention is context at the very minimum, but we can't simply say that, well, somebody had good intentions, so they are allowed to get away with whatever the bad action is. You still need to understand motive.
I think this is interesting. We've talked about this, but it reminds me again of why I find ethics so fascinating. And that is, there is no way, I feel, to have an either absolute rules-based, principle-based, or an absolutely momentary, situationally based ethics. I think neither one is possible, because you have to take into consideration the person's intentions and the context of what happened. And there are principles that, if you are following them, should shine well on you when adjudicating a situation. But there are other things where we must take a principle as being violated and understand that that principle needs corrective action. And so, like, I find it very, likely that we live in the gray in the middle, but we so often turn to principles when we want to talk about ethics. So, when we talk about this, good intentions, well, I was following the right principle, therefore I am right. Mm-hmm. And, the appeal to authority is very interesting in these situations. Like,
well, when you try to rest on absolutism, even the people that tried to create it know it doesn't work. That's why there's hundreds and hundreds of pages in the Bible. If all this was so simple, you would just need one page to explain what's yes and what's no. But even religions that try to be sources of absolute morality, even they have all these nuances. It's like, because you know that you have to address situations as they come up.
The Hebrew turned Jewish religion has books explaining books. I think it's the Talmud and the, I want to say Mishnah, but I think that might be wrong.
Yeah, that sounds right. Mishnah sounds right.
But like, literally they have the interpretations of their scholars and sages explaining what was already written, that was written to explain what was the law.
Yeah, explaining the explanations.
And it leads to very fun things, like on Sabbath, you can't turn off the light, but you can't ask your Gentile friend to turn off the light for you.
You can't push buttons.
You have to encourage your Gentile friend to turn off the light for you by talking about how bright it is in the room. And then you are following the law.
And do we really think that God is so stupid as that?
I can't remember the comedian's name. He's hilarious, but that was his example, not my own. I did not come up with that. I just can't give him credit because I don't remember names. I just don't remember names.
I remember watching a video at some point, and it was in Jerusalem, in one of the Orthodox parts of the city, and they had a workaround for elevators.
Oh, they stop at every floor?
Is that what it is? There's something
so.
about not having to actually touch. They don't have to touch a mechanized button to make the elevator work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, there's, because they do it in New York too. There's buildings where the elevator will stop at every floor.
Why?
Because you can walk on the elevator and you can walk off the elevator, but you can't push the button on the elevator.
But how do you get from one floor to the next?
You walk on the elevator
while somebody else is already going up.
Possibly, or it could be empty. It doesn't matter.
I don't understand.
Well, this is not me, harping on Judaism or anything like that. This is just
it's any belief system.
It's a good example of how intentions create rules that people should follow to be good, become tainted by trying to have too many absolute principles. And then you get to situations where really situational logic should apply, which is, you're not a bad Jew if you press a button. Like most, I think most people, even Jews maybe, would agree with me on like that's not a bad thing to do, but because of the way that you understand Sabbath and the way that you understand respecting God, and like it leads to these things that from the outside can appear rather ridiculous to us. And yet the intention of that moment is one of reverence and, commitment to faith.
Is it, or is it, I'm frustrated, I have to get something done, I have to figure out a workaround to get something done on the Sabbath that I shouldn't be doing in the first place?
I mean, I'm sure there's part of that too. But it's a good example. It wouldn't
really matter what the religion is. I mean, it's, any of them come up with these cherry-picked situations to focus on, and then you have to bend your entire life around something. The intention might be for reverence, but the actual outcome is just inconvenience that your gods shouldn't have wanted to visit upon you in the first place.
Well, like Lent and fish,
yes.
Things exist everywhere. Things exist absolutely everywhere. But it's
Lent is a strange time anyway. I remember, what are you giving up for Lent? It's like, I'm giving up Lent for Lent. It's like, or it was really good when I was like, I'm giving up sex. I was like, you're a virgin. I was like, what is this? How is this any kind of a sacrifice?
So, yes, speaking truth, ringing true, intentions do drive a lot of this, right? If your intention is to get around the thing that you're trying to observe, then are you observing it? I think this is a good call to take a second, right? Look at your professed beliefs and hear them. Are they ringing true? Or are you catching yourself up on principles, maybe?
Yeah, and if you're having to twist yourself into knots to honor them, then there's something else at stake here. Either you're not living in the light of your truth and you're now trying to twist yourself around to make it work. And so do you actually believe what you say you do? I don't know. It feels like, what do I want to say? It feels like the universe is complex enough. It doesn't need you adding all this other on top of it. Your intentions can be clearer, I think. If you don't know, okay, here's something. If you cannot explain your intentions in such a way that they're easily understood, most truths have, some degree of simplicity to them. If you can't explain that to yourself, let alone anybody else, then maybe reconsider how you understand what it is to be quote unquote right.
I was just thinking part of this also is that principles don't last through time.
They don't.
Like the whole reason that we were talking about buttons didn't exist when the law was written. Mechanical devices didn't exist when the law was written. And so you have hundreds of years now where the principles are sacrosanct and they no longer speak to the world that you live in. And so now you have to try to interpret them and work your way around them. And I think what I'm hearing is this is a good moment for you as the person you are. Maybe I was kind of feeling like you're an adult, but maybe we have some teenagers that like to listen to this podcast at some point.
Don't cuss like we do. It's bad. That's a principle.
That's a principle. That's actually a great
example. You'll be fine once you're 21.
It's a great example of principles that we teach and how badly we teach principles. No, but this is your moment to stand up and to look at what your pillars are around you and ask yourself, do they serve me now?
That's a nice context.
Do they serve me now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull a card.
Okay.
On that note, we'll see if we have an answer or an insight. I'll take an insight. It doesn't have to be an answer. All right. I have the Sentinel of Seeds. The Sentinel of Seeds. Do the work that now needs doing. Do the work that now needs doing.
Which is interesting because if you're considering whether or not what you're doing is relevant to who you are and what you want to be and how you want to communicate and express yourself, then by doing this work that needs to be doing now, does it mean that you're pushing past distractions to find your actual purpose? Or have you already found it and this is a reminder to get going and do it well? But before you take action, just confirm that's actually what you need to do and want to do, and if it's serving you well.
Absolutely. So this is the Knight of Pentacles in the tarot. So there is very much an action, but the Page of Pentacles, or in my case, the Seeker of Seeds, is about planning. When we actually had the Seeker of Seeds come up last episode. So this is the next one in the row. So the Seeker, planning, dreaming, ideating. The Sentinel is doing, bringing that action forward. So yeah, we go from the contemplative context of what are your pillars? Are they serving you? And then immediately we shift into action. And this is also the root chakra. So we have an alignment there. Pentacles often, pictured as coins or money. But I think of them as seeds because honestly, in agrarian society, seeds are currency.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the oldest forms of things that are generative, right? That grow and yield wealth and bounty and harvest. Harvest is, a sense of wealth or riches. So
it's a very heady reading to start with today, isn't it?
Yes. But interestingly, action based. So
I being thoughtful, being mindful about what you're going to do.
I think,
and who you want to be.
As much as this is heady, I think it's also maybe a call to get out of your head. Like, do the work that now needs doing. Focus on now. I think like that's what I'm getting here. Is yes, what are the pillars, right? What ringing truth do you have? Okay, now work on it. Do you need to knock the pillar down? Do you need to move it? Do you need to shore it up and strengthen it? Do you need to change it? Do you need to inscribe on it? Do you need to deepen your under? Is it just a simple column and you need to put edges to it? Do you need to make it more ornate for some reason? Is it too ornate? Have you gone so hard on your principle that you haven't done any of the doing? You've talked about it, you've created it, but have you lived it? Have you brought it forward? Like, it's great to have a principle, but do you put it into practice?
Well, and since we're better defined by what we do than what we say or what we intend, doing the work that needs doing now is in its way telling you to be the person you're supposed to be now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still have that sense of, okay, here we are. You've done a lot of study. Maybe you have done readings and you've journaled and you've done your shadow work and you have all of this information, right?
Yeah. And then you just look down at the bracelet on your hand that says WWJD and you really think, what would Janet Jackson do? And do that.
WWJJD?
Yes. What would Janet do? Whatever it is, it would be kind, it would be beautiful, it would be wonderful. Do that.
I mean, that's a great example of the people that would wear those. I remember they would not do what Jesus would do.
They're also terrible drivers. Let me just put it out there. If you got the more crosses that you got stuck on the back of your car, the more likely you are to cut me off. What is that? Would Jesus cut me off? Would he?
I think that's selection bias, but yeah.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Well, the point is, like, so you get a tattoo or you wear a piece of jewelry or you bumper sticker your car and you say to the world, this is my principle. And then what do you do with it?
Off. And then you cut people off.
What do you do with it? It's a good question. I think a principle is only theoretical unless it's lived. And this is where we get to intentions and principles and ethical situations, but like it doesn't really matter if it's not lived.
Yeah, so if you go back to the first card where it said, I profess that I'm the words that ring true, you've chosen the words that ring true for you. To your point, are you activating them? Are you embodying them? Are you living them? You get to choose which words are true. Some people may not believe that, but even in your way, if you're trapped in a belief system like that, you're probably not listening to this podcast anyway. So
That's true.
If you're trapped in that cycle of thought, you've still chosen words that ring true for you. Are you living up to them? What are you doing? Who are you? And does it mirror who you think you're supposed to be? By doing the work that needs to be doing now, are you being clear-headed about this? Or is it what you want to do now instead of what needs to be done now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It can be very difficult in a moment to understand the difference between need and want. Because urgency of whether it's an emotional kind or physical or, what have you, sometimes we in a moment can't recognize the difference between need and want. So just as a reminder, as you do the work that needs doing now, is it a true need or is it a want?
There's two things that are happening in the world at the moment that I find relevant to the situation. And
only 2.
The main one, the one that's really striking me, is this coach has been suspended because he would give rides to his team and he would buy food for them. And there are principles at work.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that situation, but I encountered that as a high school teacher. I gave rides to a couple of my students, and I gave food and supplies to my students, and I probably would get fired for that now.
And it's a good example of, do the principles outweigh the intentions? What's the context?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, it's not the best idea to have students in your car for various reasons.
Not at all. Even way back in 2003 when this happened, it wasn't a good idea. But here's the situation. We had finished the dance rehearsal for the evening, and it was cold outside. It was winter. It was dark already at like 5 or 5:30. And this student happened to be an extraordinarily beautiful 15-year-old girl, exceptionally beautiful. And across campus, I could hear all the football players. And I was not comfortable with the thought of leaving her unattended in a bad neighborhood when I know a bunch of rowdy young men are over there and she's sitting here by herself in a parking lot with only one street light. So I made the decision to take her home because I was afraid for her safety. Was I wrong? Probably, but I was willing to, I didn't like the job anyway, so I was willing to risk getting fired if I could get her home.
Mm.
So that was what I was thinking at the time. I don't know what this person's thinking with their rides and meals or whatever, but if it's a high school teacher or something, I can certainly empathize with why you would want to help your students who are disadvantaged. You just have to be careful, because what if I'd had a wreck? Or what if she'd accused me of something?
Well, I mean, that's exactly the problem, is that there's, the issue of safety. There's the issue of liability. The school would be sued, right? Based on what happened. And, a lot of things are done to avoid risk. We have insurance. We have an entire industry in the world that's based on risk avoidance and risk aversion. But it kind of brings me, to this point that we're kind of working around, which is, what are you doing? So obviously the coach, I don't know the whole story. I didn't, deep dive into it. I don't, I empathize with it because there were times when I was a teacher, and actually we were required to transport students in our car because we had sports off campus. Mm-hmm. And so they would all pile into the coach's cars and we would drive over to practice.
Your personal cars?
Personal cars, yeah. And then there were times where, I did give a student ride home. I was very good friends with one of the teachers, so I would give her kids rides home all the time because we would hang out. Like I would go over for dinner, and we would, we were friends. We were, so I was, in with the family. I wasn't part of the family. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're
close.
Yeah. We were, it was familial in a very weird Western sense where we don't really know what that means. But yeah, like, so I kind of was like instantly like, yeah, I relate to that. Like I totally relate. And how can you watch a child go hungry? Like that's insane, right?
Yeah, it is. I had one student, she didn't have free breakfast or free lunch. She qualified for it, but she couldn't get it because her mother refused to sign the paperwork for it. So I did it. And over 20 years later, I'll just admit it. I forged her signature so that her child could eat.
And these are interesting things, right? These are very interesting things because principle, feed a hungry child. Principle, it's a school child and there's liability. Principle, don't forge someone's signature. Principle, don't deny someone food. Like this is the crazy thing that makes us human, is that we want there to be easy answers. We want there to be easy to understand, easy to talk about, easy to share. We want there to be simple things. We want there to be principles that are absolute, that are always right, that will always be good, that will always guide us. Because we do want to be good. I do believe that. I was reading a post the other day, like humans are good. Like the whole idea about humans are evil. No, humans are good. When there's a natural disaster, people are pulling people into their boats.
Yep.
People are running into house fires and pulling people out.
Only to die themselves.
Only to die themselves. A student saw a car go in. A student teen saw a car go into the river, ran into the river, rescued 4 people from the car, and helped the cop who came to help get back out of the water when he lost his footing and had trouble getting back out of the water. People are good people. We want to be good, but we want things to be easy, and that's the trouble. That's the real trouble, is that we want low cognitive load. Cognition is costly to us. It burns calories. It uses up our energy. I've hyper focused at work several times in the last 2 weeks, and I get to the point where like I'm just done. Like I don't have anything left to give. Like we want low cognition answers. Because we don't want to have to think about it, but we also want principles and intentions to matter. And so we get in this spaghetti twist.
You mentioned insurance a little while ago as being one of the ways we try to mitigate or reduce risk. And then you mentioned easy answers. And so we have insurance companies. And what do? They try to avoid paying out as much as they possibly can. So the whole point of having insurance is to mitigate risk. But then their whole point is to not give you any of the money that you've given them. So even when we try to find solutions, we then create more complications.
Well, and they decide how much money to charge you based on how risky of an investment you are and how likely you are to cause them to pay out money. So they're risk avoiding. Like, yeah, no, it almost
seems like the insurance companies shouldn't be private companies. It almost seems like they should just be big, huge organizations that, people pay into, and when you need it, you get out. And then there's none of this calculation about, profit. It's just paying out when stuff needs to be paid out.
It's all about social networks, social
but
safety
I guess
nets.
What I just described is actually taxes. So,
yes. Well, no, and there's a lot more that taxes should go to cover. There's a lot more that taxes should go to cover because there should be universal things.
I would rather have functioning schools and, good roads than some of the stuff I've got instead. But, nobody's asking me, so whatever.
We are, though, on this point, what now needs doing. And I find myself a very interesting writer sometimes because this could have been written, what needs doing now. But I wanted to trip you up when you read it. So do the work that now needs doing, because I really wanted to focus on the now. And I think I want to bring it back to there before we roll for your next card. Is the now is the only thing that we have.
That's right.
We have intentions that are from the past, principles or ideas for the future, but really what we exist in is the now. And that is a place of action. That is a place of interaction. And you need to build and strengthen your reflexes, because that's what principles can do for us, is they can create reflexes. What's your reflex action? What's your reflex belief? What's the thing that your gut goes to immediately? Those are the things that you need to strengthen.
And they can be like guideposts, but they don't need to be like solid metal and flexible. They might be more like, like walls of rubber, so you can bounce off them, and there's a little bit of give here. They don't have to be completely inflexible guidelines.
Well, I mean, I just think of mission and value from companies. Like they're very important. Those are very important. Mission statements, vision statements, value statements. Like those are important because organizations need those, because organizations can get off the rails very easily. Because when you put a group of people together and give them too much time, bring in money, then bad things happen. Like that's where the flip side of human nature comes together. So you do need guiding principles, but the problem is like Google, do no harm, do no evil.
Yeah, that we passed that point a while back.
This is capitalism. Capitalism is evil. Capitalism is exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the very principles of simplicity that we want to have, capitalism is not something that is good. But you're playing the game, and you're playing the game to win, and Google is winning. So guess what? Google's not evil.
No. All right, let's see. The tetrahedron of doom.
Tetrahedron of doom.
Oh, we're getting sassy.
Deck number 1?
Yes, the projections.
I'm learning. It's only been like 3 years since we created
it's only
these
been
decks.
48 episodes. Oh, yeah, and all the deck design and everything. So, yes, these are the projections of joy, the sassy deck, as it were. Suggestions for implementing the professions. And we're going with card number?
Rolling off the table.
15.
15.
So I think that's going to put us up into Manipura. Oh yeah, the very first opening in Manipura. So this is fire on fire. I do on I do. This is the solar plexus reinvigorating itself. So, what is this saying? Here we go. Potluck your gratitude. Giving versus sacrificing. Receiving versus taking. Abundance versus scarcity. Potluck your gratitude. Giving versus sacrificing. Receiving versus taking. Abundance versus scarcity.
Okay, so I love the potluck metaphor because I just see everybody getting together with little bits of gratitude and bringing it all together, and then everybody gets to eat a lot of gratitude.
All that yumminess.
But you only had to bring the one. And I think that's such a beautiful little picture. It's why cookouts are, so important to cultures, because that's, where you come together, and like that's company, like
with bread.
Like that's most of our words that mean working together mean eating together. So I love the idea of potlucking gratitude. Like you bring what you have. It's okay if it's a little, because we're gonna multiply it together.
Well, it's interesting because it's giving versus sacrificing. You bring to this potluck what you have to share, but don't bring something that's going to diminish you for having shared it. What can you give, not what can you sacrifice? And then when you're here, what can you receive? You're not taking stuff from other people, you're receiving, because they're giving as well. So it's sharing. And the abundance versus scarcity. Even if you only have a little bit, when everybody comes together to share it, it becomes a lot. And
somebody does need to bring the napkins. They're important.
Yes. Somebody needs to bring the Coke. Somebody needs to bring the spoons. I don't know if everybody needs to bring a tablecloth, but bring what you can.
Yeah.
And we only need one serving of potato salad. I said what I said.
No raisins, please.
Raisins in the potato salad. No, you can leave this potluck.
Yeah, so we have action here, right? We have third chakra. I don't really have that intersection in my lower cards. So like in my lower chakra, so like the root chakra doesn't, like the sentinel isn't really an intersection, but if it was an intersection, it would have been root and third chakra, because it's about action, right? It's about doing. So we have a reinforcement of fire on fire.
Yes, and the card beforehand was do now what needs doing. And now we're coming forward into do. This is yellow on yellow, fire on fire. I do on I do. So do. But do now what needs doing. So we come forward with all this eagerness. Again, you don't have to do it by yourself, probably. You can learn from others. You can share with others. You can receive energy from them. You can burn off some extra some other way so that you're getting to the choice that actually now needs your attention.
Well,
if we do too much, we risk not doing what now needs doing.
I think it's very important the now part coming into this. Like if we had just had like go, right? Mm-hmm. Like no. That's too much blaze. We had to focus. What are we working on? What is the now? What's the pillar? Like where's our focus? And then go. Like this is a reminder, like, good, okay, you've got what you're working, you've got your focal point. Now pour fire and pour other people's fire into it.
Mm-hmm. Where possible, let it be a collaboration.
And this is communities working together, because communities have principles. Groups form, small groups form all the time, mm-hmm. and they establish principles because my book that I'm learning from says absolutely establish the norms of the team, like make rules, make principles for how this team is going to function so that everybody can rally around them.
Yeah.
So, yes, take your principles, share them with others, create community, create fire. These are the cornerstones of the temple, right? And then the fire of being, the fire of doing is housed within, and it's tended by others. You can't just do it all on your own. You can't stay up 24 hours a day and keep the fire going. Like that's why we have night owls.
Mm-hmm. The reading thus far has daisy chained very well. I am the words that ring true. And how do you manifest that? By doing now what needs doing. And how will you accomplish that? With collaboration and energy and energizing exchanges with people and being focused on the most important tasks that themselves help reinforce who you think you are and how you're defining yourself. So it's all holding hands very well.
Mm-hmm. And we're in the lower chakras, which I like because oftentimes, like you said it before, like ethics is a heady thing, right? I mean, I pull out my ethics book and people are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like hedonism and,
mm-hmm.
I can't remember the other names that he gives the systems, but like it's moral philosophy has got to be one of the most dense areas of philosophy. I think they try to create language for things that don't fit language, but they want to talk about them, so they've got to create something to talk about mm-hmm. them, and then they want to apply math to it because there's a huge overlap with philosophy and math. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I've seen it. They have little formulas. If
yes.
A, then B, and triangle, and ...
Yes. Yes. And it's fascinating because there's, again, that human drive for simplicity. We have to be able to explain it, describe it, make it make sense. In fact, logical positivism, I don't even know why I didn't even think of this. Logical positivism is math as philosophy. And set theory, but yeah, this all exists in the lower chakras. Like,
when you get to this kind of stuff, I almost wish they would just make up new words. Like what'd you call it? Toxic positivity. What'd you just say?
Logical positivism.
Same thing. So just call it flipperdoodleism. It's like, okay, flipperdoodleism. Okay, fine. But when you get these adjectives and nouns and you put them together in these weird ways, it's like, that's distracting. It's like, this is the Humperdinck formula. It's like, okay, the Humperdinck formula. Okay, whatever. But when it's like this string of words that I do know put together in a way that I don't know, it's like, you're just doing this on purpose. Call it the Humperdinck.
I mean, the part of a philosophy paper is defining your language and
mm-hmm.
I
think I'll write one just so I can do that. This is the flippersnickle.
The Humperdinck moral philosophy.
Yes, and the flippersnickle methodology.
Humperdinck Bandersnatch.
Exactly. That's the next chapter.
I love how no matter how badly you mess up his name, everybody knows who you're talking about.
Oh, it's the next chapter.
It's the next chapter.
So in terms of potluck your gratitude, giving versus sacrificing, receiving versus taking, abundance versus scarcity, just keep in mind the difference between giving and sacrificing. If you are sharing something because you want to, then it makes you better. If you're sacrificing something, you have a loss that you intend to be a positive, but is actually a negative. So sacrificing is not the ideal. We put sacrifice on this big, huge pedestal, but sacrifice is not sustainable, and sacrifice is not generally healthy. Sacrifice might be a short-term fix for something, but mostly it should be giving, not sacrificing. And we certainly don't want to be taking from people. It's fine to receive if we're receiving what people are sharing, but to just reach out and take something, no, that's not what receiving is.
The principle of sacrifice is well worn in Western religions, because they would sacrifice, like they would slaughter something and spread its blood on the altar and burn its carcass and consider that appropriation for sins. And now we don't do that anymore, but we still want to sacrifice. And so we think of things like Lent, where we sacrifice something to show holiness or goodness or just get alongness.
When you give something up for Lent that you don't actually miss, then you haven't actually sacrificed, and then you're twisting yourself around like somebody Jewish not wanting to touch a button on an elevator on the Sabbath. If you're going to do a sacrifice, it needs to have there needs to be an actual sense of loss that you are then sanctifying as a gesture of adoration. But if you're just giving up chocolate for Lent, that's not giving anything up for Lent.
I think we like the idea of sacrifice because it's an easy answer. If I sacrifice something, I will get something. It's an exchange.
So it's transactional.
If we sacrifice the goat, and by the way, not the scapegoat, if you don't know where scapegoat comes from, they would take 2 goats every year. One goat would be sacrificed in order to atone, and then the other goat, all of the sins of the nation were transferred to that goat, and it was released into the wilderness, and that was the scapegoat. So
it escaped.
It carried away all the sins. So that's a very transactional thing of like, okay, so for this year, I'm good. I did my sacrifice. I have completed the ritual. And we like that. We like rituals. We love like do, right? We love rituals. We love things that are transactional because that's how we think. But is that ethics? Is that morality? Is that principle? Are you actually doing anything other than doing?
Well, rituals are fascinating because they direct intention, which goes back to the first card, and makes that intention known to all, and then directs the energy, the magic that comes from it toward, a specified goal or purpose. And they can be very beautiful. There's some absolutely extraordinary or even fascinating rituals. I love rituals, but if you're not actually participating in them fully, then it's just a series of gestures and words. If you are going to, for example, Mass is beautiful. Mass can be very beautiful. But if you're bored, then why are you there? You're not participating in the ritual. I go sometimes, even though I don't necessarily believe that specific belief system anymore, because it's calming, it's soothing, it's beautiful. And if the intention is to promote peace, it can do that. It doesn't mean that I have to participate spiritually in every component of it to get some of the gain from it.
It's why a lot of traditions in Catholicism were pagan rituals that they just rebranded.
You just appropriated it so that it'd be easier to convert people. A lot of the saints are former local gods, just rebranded, renamed, and turned into saints. So, Mithraism is interesting because December 25th is not Jesus's birthday. December 25th is Mithra's birthday. And one of the ways they would celebrate Mithra's birthday, you'd have a bunch of men, because it's men only, no women, men only in this pit, and they put a grate over the pit, and they'd walk this sacrificial bull who was a stand-in for Mithra, and they'd slit its throat, and they'd baptize everybody in the pit with the blood of the god to wash their sins away. It's like this, none of this is new. It's just redecorated.
What do you think our reading is saying about ritual in this moment? I think this is a curious point where ritual, we've talked about the drawback to it. This maybe oversimplification of it, the lost meaning of it because it's so disconnected from its time that it was established. But they're powerful too. So what do you find that we're seeing here in this moment?
That if you're going to participate in rituals, make sure that they are honing your focus, intention, energy, and action towards what now needs doing. That there's nothing wrong with rituals per se. I'm not trying to say that at all. But they should be a tool and a procedure for helping you succeed, and succeeding at something that's actually true to who you are. If you're just marking through them and not actually present for them, then, I suppose it's an interesting way to pass time, but you're not actually doing anything with them if you don't invest in what they're supposed to be accomplishing.
I think the now needs doing is referring to what you are going to spend your energy on, right? The do. What are you going to spend you and your community's energy on? And rituals are important, but not because they're transactional. I think that's where I have my hangups. I don't think rituals are transactional. I don't think that you say the magic words and wave your hands the same way and it's like a magic spell. Like I don't think that's how this works. I think rituals align a community. I think that they are part of that potluck of gratitude, potluck of shared energy. They're the cookout, but it's not a transaction. It's not a tit for tat. And I don't believe that you can atone for everyone's sins by sacrificing something. I don't think that you need to.
I'm glad you used the word alignment, because I was going to bring it up, but the other word I was going to bring up that you haven't mentioned is coordinate. Rituals are excellent for coordinating groups of people and aligning them to bring focus together simultaneously to be more effective at whatever it is that's being done. And hopefully that do aligns to, what is most salient to your being, the words that ring true.
I'm going to pull another card. See what we've got going on here. Okay, lots of energy on this one. We'll be interested to see what it is. Oh, we go up. So we were talking about the head. We've entered there. This is number 11, defend. You are called to defend the actions you take.
Well, that should be easy if you're doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, this is justice in the tarot. The justice card in the tarot. And yeah, I like that you said that, because when I wrote the card, it was interesting to me to talk about. So these are the intersections with the third eye. So this is the middle part of the major arcana. The major arcana is the throat, the third eye, and the crown in sequence, and they go back through the first 7 chakras as they do this. So this relates to the authority, and it relates to the idea of taking account for what you've done, not because you were wrong or bad, but standing by it, defending it, speaking to it, I think is another way of saying it. Can you speak to what you've done?
It's a very timely card to show up in the reading.
Yes.
Because you'll know if what you have been doing is appropriate if you can go inside yourself and let it be very quiet and just ask the simple question, is what I did correct or right? And for a trillionth of a second, you will have your answer. And everything after that is apologetics and justification. So, is what I did correct? Yes. There. Good. Carry on. No. Oh, but that's because I intended this and da-da-da. No. You had your answer. You had your answer. So I think on a gut level, we have an instinct about morality and the way in which our intentions are manifesting in our actions. If you do something that's questionable, you know you've done something questionable. Then, to the point of this card, defend. Okay, maybe you can reason it through and come to a defense that ends up justifying what you did. But what if it doesn't? Can you admit that?
That's the power of this card, is that you don't want to, twist and mangle and justify. It's because it's not justify, it's defend. You're not trying to create an argument for why you were right. You're trying to ask, was I right? And deal with that answer.
And then be able to come up with all the reasons why you still agree with what you did in the first place.
Well, that's what
defend is, isn't it?
There's really 4 options here. You meant to do the right thing and you did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You meant to do the right thing and you did the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
You meant to do the wrong thing and you did the right thing.
Mm.
You meant to do the wrong thing and you did the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm. So which is it?
It's simple. And I think, yes, if you meant to do the right thing and something bad happened, you meant to do the right thing. So you have to defend yourself in that perspective of, I tried to do the right thing here. It just didn't work out. It did not go the way that I wanted it to go. And I think that's a perfectly valid defense of your actions.
I think the worst of the 4 is trying to do the wrong thing and doing the right thing.
People love that in books.
I can see why that one's slippery. Because then you have this good result and people are congratulating you for it, and inside yourself you're just like, it's stupid. But it's like, there's still a good result, and that's why the result is what matters. The intention is not what matters ultimately in a lawsuit. It's what the result is. So you can be a horrible, wicked person and do good, and you're fine. It doesn't matter that you intend bad. You did good.
This is the great work of The Good Place, the show The Good Place. Did you watch that?
I feel like I did. What is that one?
It was Kristen Bell, and she wakes up in The Good Place, but she is pretty sure she shouldn't be there.
Right. I know I didn't watch this, but I remember hearing about it. I don't know if it's from you, but I remember hearing about it.
It's a very good show. I highly recommend that you go back and watch it, especially because you and I talk about moral philosophy as much as we do.
Yeah.
The show is actually based on a book of moral philosophy that the showrunner read and was, moved and motivated by. It's 4 seasons. They're very short seasons. It's a very good story, very well written, very well acted. And the point, though, is that the show talks about is, what does it mean to be a good person? And one of the things they have is a point system. So the afterlife is decided by a point system. And there's an example of a character who did bad her whole life. She was a cocaine addict in the 80s. In capitalism, she was winning capitalism, right? So she just all these bad things. She, I think if I'm remembering this right, she played the lottery, won. In her will, everything was to go to charity, and she died like the minute after collecting her winnings. And all of her points canceled each other. So she went,
because she did that
one good thing
And it canceled out all the bad.
And it was the same number of points as all her bad points. And so they had nowhere to send her. So they had to literally create the middle place.
Purgatory.
Yes. Where everything is meh. Because it couldn't be good, it couldn't be bad. Everything is just meh.
Meh. Gray porridge, no salt. Meh.
So she's got like a VHS tape system. So yeah. But it's fascinating, and they really lean into this. They're like, what does it mean to have points? And one of the other points that they make is that almost no one in modern society is going to the good place, because they just there's too many things. Like, you go and buy Pop-Tarts. Well, that's negative points. You fill up your car with gas. That's negative points. Like, it's impossible to outweigh all the negative points just because you are existing in a capitalist society.
The Good Place.
Yeah, you should watch it.
That sounds fascinating.
However, the reason I bring that up is that the show itself questions, what is the right thing? And there's sort of, the answer is, it's trying to do the right thing is the right thing. Trying to live together. Yeah. Trying to live together, trying to be together with others, trying, and what do we owe each other is one of the themes of the show. What do we owe each other? Because it's, the opposite of some moral stances. Like, a lot of moral stances is, what should I do? And this one moral philosopher, and I can't remember his name because I'm very bad with names, the one that wrote the book that the show is based on, basically says, well, what do we owe each other?
It sounds like something I would want to watch. I'll go look for it.
Yeah, highly recommend. And I've tried not to share any spoilers for you in podcast land about it. Because
that would be negative points.
That would be very negative points, especially
that would be some zero negative points.
I think we need our last card.
Okay. Deck number 2, the professions. We haven't gone through 3 different decks for me in a while.
No.
A lot of times it ends up rolling the same deck multiple times. So let's see which card it is of the professions. This will be quite literal. Oh, well, number 15 again.
Oh, interesting.
So fire on fire. I profess that I do everything from a sense of balance. Oh, excuse me. I misread that. No. I profess that I do everything from the intent of balance.
Intent of balance. Look at that. Look at that right there. Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Intention again. So this is fire on fire. Solar plexus reinforcing itself. Yellow on yellow. I do. So the reiteration here is that once everything is considered, once everything is reviewed, if you're doing what's correct, then carry on.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the do, and then we had defend. Okay. Well, it looks like you defended well, so do some more of that.
Well, I like this as a capstone because it just reinforces what we've already said, which is intent. And we didn't have an intent specifically laid out, right? We talked about there being intents, there being principles, there are things, there's what's doing, what are you doing, how are you doing it, what are you doing now? But we never said what the intent should be. And now here we have it, it's saying balance, and balance is an interesting intent.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've mentioned this in other conversations that joy is not the natural state.
No.
Peace is, contentment is. So it isn't that you should always be productive, or successful, or happy. It's that everything you're doing on balance should be for the promotion of peace. Your peace your community's peace, the world's peace. If you are doing something and it's not from the intent of balance, consider why you're doing it.
Balance is also interesting morally because we do get into utilitarianism, which is...
Well, we get the point system. Sometimes you're going to get some bad points. Sometimes you're going to get some good points. So we're going to the good place, hopefully, on average.
Oh, God, I don't want to be statistics into morality. Oh, my God. The probability mass function of good deeds.
And that's the snipperty boobop.
Snipperty boobop. There is a very interesting thing when you seek balance. And this kind of harkens to my own beliefs, my own, internalized spirituality, where you're never going to be perfect. And you're going to do bad. Intentionally and unintentionally. Because you're human. You just are. We're going to reach...
You're human in a interconnected fossil fuel capitalized world. So, I mean...
I was going to say, you're going to reach for your Pop-Tart.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to scroll on your phone instead of getting up and going to the gym.
You're going to ask AI a question. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. So what do you seek through all that? Seek balance. Seek the middle road. You don't need to always be absolute principles. You don't need to always be situational. You can bring both together.
Mm-hmm.
You can be both at the same time. You can be someone who sets guideposts in their life, who sets pillars that make sense to them, that help guide their actions. And then you can also consider, this is the right thing to do right now because of the situation that I'm in.
Given all the circumstances and opportunities available to me. And I would like to point out everything you said and then reiterate that the card does not say that the intent is perfection.
No.
The intent is balance. So it is not incumbent upon you to be perfect or try to be perfect or wish to be perfect. That's setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration and failure. But what you can do is strive for balance. And that means there will be moments of joy that counterbalance the moments of terror or despair. And you average out, hopefully not in the meh place, but balance is interesting because balance is not stationary. And I know this firsthand as a dancer, that balance is not permanent and it's not still. It requires constant vibrating work. It doesn't last very long and you have to constantly keep coming back toward it. Balance is not the terminal state. Balance is a constant effort.
Mm-hmm. We don't think about it because our brain's very good at it. Our body, actually, it's not even our brain. Like our central nervous system is good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Where our body regulates. That's just what it does, And the idea of being a lizard and having to wander into the sun to speed up my blood, and having to wander into the shade to slow down my blood, like I don't think about
purposeful.
This. I don't have to think about this. My body regulates itself and keeps me in homeostasis. And when I walk, I just walk. I don't think about how all the muscles are working together, but they are.
But even that homeostasis you're talking about with body temperature, that's a constant fluctuation up and down to keep you where you're supposed to be at 98.6. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting if you haven't experienced it. I'm a dancer, or trained dancer, I was anyway. And when you're up on releve with either 1 foot or two, it doesn't really matter. You have to pull your core up. You have to reach forward with your hands. You have to be reaching up through the top of your head and pushing down through your toes. It is not still. It is not stable. It is work. And that's rather a good metaphor for everything in life. If something comes to complete stillness, that's death.
0 degrees Kelvin.
Yeah. Then there's nothing.
There's nothing.
So I would say that in summation for my ideas here, remember that once you identify what your now action is, and you can defend and justify it. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. And remember, you can get help from other people. Mm.
We have a members only Patreon. It's patreon.com/DeanSageMedia, all one word. You can go in there and support us and get the extra deck, which is the members only version of the podcast, where we get an extra segment that Jack and I talk about our ways that the reading influences us, particularly how we kind of take it as a personal part. So you get an extra long show. You get to hear how the reading affects us and it supports us. So we appreciate that. We have a YouTube. It's Show Your Deck on YouTube. We have books and decks are available at showyourdeck.com. You can get Jack's book directly from Jack. You can get my book through Amazon. It's both paperback, hardback, and through Kindle Unlimited for free if you have that Kindle Unlimited. And Jack's decks and my decks are available through a third-party distributor where you can get access to it through our website, showyourdeck.com. Jack, where can we find you?
I'm at 49 haiku. So on the intrawebs, I'm at 4, 9, haiku.com. And on Instagram, I am at 49 haiku.
I am Dean Sage Media. Find me if you dare. Our show's Instagram is @yourdeck, and we will say goodbye.